This is Moments Without Reason with Alan Prohaska and Joe Peralta. A couple of fellas sitting around chatting about whatever comes up. If you've got something on your mind you'd like to share, hit us up on email at momentswithoutreason@gmail.com. Moments Without Reason. And now your hosts, Alan and Joe.
I'd like to talk about technology, man. It's just out of control.
Okay.
Us using all this is, I mean, what's the next step, do you think? You know, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, I remember when AOL came out and everybody flipped out.
That's right.
You know, 20 plus years ago, and we had to dial in through a modem. And I mean, what's Facebook? It's just AOL, really.
That's right. Do you remember the chat rooms on AOL?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Desperate and lonely,
right.
horny housewives, and
I have to
pedophiles.
I have to be very honest with you. I lived in L.A. When the chat rooms were real big on AOL, and I had a membership, and I had more than one encounter through the chat rooms, and it went well. There was no issues.
So I guess this podcast won't be going out.
No, this one will be going out. That's okay. This is past history. This is before I became Ward Cleaver.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
But the encounter might be listening as she sends her 14-year-old kid to school going, well, I found your daddy.
Boy, you look familiar.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm looking in the mirror. This is weird.
I told you I found your twin in Nashville. So
you know, everyone has a doppelganger.
Yep.
That's right.
But no, I'm just saying it's just creepy with technology, man. It's, you know, I used to just love my cell phone, and then cell phone got speed dial, and then it got caller ID, and then it got the web, and now it's like you can't not go anywhere without it. I mean, I find myself just on purpose leaving it at home when I go down to the grocery store, and it's like it feels so, what's the word? Almost like you know, that day you get out of jail. I wouldn't know, but
in theory,
you know, when those bars slam behind you, you're just kind of walking around going, "Wow, you know, this is so enlightening." You know, you don't have anything to text or update. You know,
and you go to a store and you're amazed at 18 different brands of every item.
Yeah, as opposed to the shit that I'm supposed to buy because it came over my cell phone.
That's right. That's right.
Buy Tide.
That's right. No, I agree. Technology. The other thing about technology, I think, though, is you know, I think it's not utilized in the way, I don't even know how to put it, in a way that benefits others, for lack of a better way to put it.
Absolutely.
It's you know, if you would have shown us a cell phone when we were in high school, I know that me and the people I knew back then would have we absolutely would have been amazed at the technology. It would have just blown us away. But we also would have, at the end of the viewing or the sampling of a cell phone from this generation, we would have had one question, and that would have been why do we need all this? What are you, a doctor, I guess, or a surgeon or something, a lawyer? That would have been the first, probably the first question.
And it's funny you mentioned that. I remember being out and, you know, a field engineer back in the 80s when I had a pager. Mm-hmm. And everybody would ask me if I was a doctor, and naturally I'd say yes. And you know,
that's right.
I'd have these fake business cards drawn up,
right? which were hard to come by back then.
Free pap smears.
That's right. This is my exam table. Don't mind the hydraulic floor jack. That's my father's.
Yeah. The mason jar full of nails and screws. Yeah, those are spare parts from my '57 Chevy.
That's right. We had pagers working in broadcasting back in the 80s, 81, 82 started out, and everybody had a pager. And of course it was just a beep only with the display, and 911 was, hurry up and call and that sort of thing. And
right, exactly. And the expectation wasn't, immediate. I mean, it was, okay, the page went out. Give him half an hour. If he's on the road, he's going to pull over. If it's raining, I sure as hell never pulled over.
No.
I mean, But then it went from pagers to the digital pagers, where you actually got a message on the screen.
Right.
And and you got a little more information than just call and find out. You actually were told, hey, pull over immediately. There's a system that's on fire. Or you need to call right now,
Right.
But it went from that expectation went out the door when everybody started getting cell phones, because, the question of why didn't you answer your phone 30 years ago is the correct response was because I'm not home.
Right. That's right.
Now it's like, why didn't you answer your phone? Well, mid life of the cellular life, I guess. I'm at a loss for words here, but probably in the mid '80s, as cellular technology started growing, you could get away with, I'm in a bad cell area, but
right.
Now it's like, phone rings and it's like, damn it.
Oh, sure, and I think voicemail is I think personally it's underutilized. I prefer voice communication. I mean, I text simply because it's an accepted mode of communication.
Right. You got a quick yes or no answer,
right,
that's required. Here you go.
Right, exactly. I think when it gets to the point of conversational, and even that to a degree I can handle, but there's some things that you can't tell. And you and I know this. You can't tell someone's tone, someone's mood,
exactly,
from a text.
Yep. Unless there's a fine,
right,
or a do what you want,
right. that generally gives away the tone. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. It's interesting. I think probably in 1997, 98, I used a Sky pager. That was nationwide, and it was one of the new Motorola's that was actually alphanumeric, that was a clamshell, and it popped open. And, it had web access, and I thought that was just the cat's meow right there, man. It was.
Yeah, they turned off our web access, but I did have one of those. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool, and you could reply.
Oh, sure. It's funny, though. I had a laptop that I bought in I think 93, 92, maybe even 91. And I bought it from Radio Shack because you couldn't just go out and there were no computer stores. You couldn't do that. It was like video only. I think Circuit City was big. And the Shack was actually doing okay.
And I remember when Macy's had an electronic department,
and
they sold computers.
That's right. And Macy's and Penny's.
Sears.
That's right. Sears, absolutely. And, this laptop I bought was probably $2,200, and it was a Tandy something or other. It didn't have a color display because there really was no need for it. It had that kind of bluish hue. I remember signing up for Prodigy because it was one of the only services. Yep. It was Prodigy, CompuServe, and AOL. And AOL hadn't even cut teeth yet as far as the technology.
Yeah, you had to get on one of the 10 phone numbers that were
out
right
there. That's exactly right. And I had a 40-foot cable strung across the living room. I remember having an email address before anybody even had email. And, my friends and my father's first comment was, well, what are you going to do with that? And, of course, I had no idea. Basically, you looked up stock prices and maybe a couple of headlines, and that was about it. Technology is, it's come leaps and bounds, I think, but in some ways. I just find it interesting, my statement earlier about not used for the overall good in some ways. There's a few programs out there. There's some non-profs that are doing good things with technology in some third world countries. But again, on Google Play and on the Apple iTunes Store, the number one hits for apps of any sort are games. They're all games, and
that's it.
I think that's incredible.
Yeah, but I think it dumbs us down too. Because,
absolutely.
Because you have this pretty much Encyclopedia Britannica in a handheld device.
Right.
There's no need for you to learn things.
Right. That's true.
Which includes basic phone numbers, addresses, birthdays. Anniversaries and things like that.
That's right. No, I agree.
If you don't have something going bling reminding you, hey, fucko, it's your wedding anniversary.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, Joe. And there's people that can't even remember, important phone numbers because it's on speed dial.
Right.
And
Yeah.
That doesn't bode well.
And it's funny. I used to back in the day when I used to mess with people's phones. If you left your phone down, I messed with it. I put a 3 a.m. wake up call.
You were that guy.
Yeah. I remember my sister once left her cell phone lying around, so I put a 3 a.m. wake up call, and then I actually programmed her voicemail retrieval number. You know. That you dial in to get your voicemails.
Right.
I programmed a 900 number in there for a sex line. And it took her like a month to figure out that she thought that was the message. She goes, somebody left me this message. So she thought when she was dialing that number that was the message that was being played. You know. So she dialed to check her messages, and the thing that would answer was, "Hi, baby. Press 1 for twins. Been waiting for your call." You know.
Well, this is a new service. I've never...
Yeah.
This must be included in my monthly.
Please enter your fuck word.
That's right. Do you remember... well, I'm sure you do. You know, there were no packages for cell phone. There were no plans. It was 99 cents a minute.
Yeah, well, no. There was the $45 a month or the $90 a month.
Right. Okay, you're right.
Which gave the $45 a month gave you your minutes were 90 cents a minute.
Right.
And I think the $90 a month you had the 45 cents during peak and 10 cents outside of peak.
Right.
Just like I remember looking at my clock going, okay, here I go. 7 o'clock, calling everybody.
Right.
Yeah, I'm on the car. I used to love wait. I used to, fuck traffic hit.
Right.
It's into 7 o'clock, man. I'm calling somebody.
No, that's right. That's right. That's what we used to do. 7 o'clock was the, I think 7 might have even been the early time, or 6 or something like that. But I remember
it was 7.
7.
Yeah.
And I remember 9 o'clock if you didn't have the early promotion.
Yep, they started with
right. And I remember spending, I lived in LA for years, and everyone would be driving around phoneless. You wouldn't even hear about someone using their phone. And after 9 p.m., man, everyone on the road was on the phone. And they had the car-mounted phones, which was a big to-do back then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that little swirly antenna.
Oh, sure. That was a status symbol, man. That they still sell those things in auto supply stores, which I kind of don't get that part.
Well, it's supposedly a repeater.
Right. Oh, yes. The infamous passive repeater.
Yeah. What a load of crap that is.
That's exactly what it is.
But then you could have upped your status just by going to Grand Auto or whatever it was back then and buy the fake cell phone.
Yep.
And fake cell phone antenna.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't use that. It just sits. Please don't touch my phone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not on a plan. I'm not on a very lucrative plan yet.
I had a story, a non sequitur here. Last week, we had a date night, and we went out to the town here that we live in, which we can say it's Walnut Creek, and it's in Northern California, and it's a nice little place. It's got shopping. So we go down to the main street, Joe. We're having dinner at a little Chinese restaurant. I know, it's shocking. And something out of a book happened, or out of a movie. As we're sitting at the table, I hear a screech. This is a true story. And around the corner, there was all these windows you could see out onto North Main Street, all these screeching tires and everything, and I hear a car crash. So there was only probably 4 people in the restaurant. It was about 7:30 in the evening, and my wife and I get up and kind of walk towards the front of the windows with some of the employees at the restaurant. And around the corner comes barreling a Toyota Camry, newer model, and it has like a flat front tire, a damaged front end, and he is hitting cars up and down North Main.
Nice.
Now, keep in mind, Joe, that the restaurant we're eating in is on North Main, right probably 2 business doors down from the police station in Walnut Creek.
Yep, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know where it's at.
Yep.
Yeah, catty corner to Dan's there.
That's exactly right.
I love that bar. Yeah, you can't really get too drunk there.
Right, exactly. you got to love that place. So let
me ask. So did this guy's GPS go awry when he hit? Take me to the demolition derby.
He was
and it put him in the middle of Walnut Creek, downtown Walnut Creek.
He was a mad shopper. So this gets better. There's a pregnant woman. This is shit I couldn't write if I had to. A pregnant woman is getting into probably a 7-month-old Mercedes 500 SUV.
Okay. Yeah.
And he sideswipes her door just as she closes it.
Wow.
As he goes around the corner, he takes a right there on Civic, and he's gone. So my wife and I run out front, And she's helping this woman, and she's saying, "Are you okay?" You know what? And she brings her inside, and she's setting her down, and she gets her talking. She's trying to calm her down, and she's saying, "Oh, so you're pregnant? Well, how far along are you? And oh, what are you expecting?" And she's doing everything she can to keep the peace and keep this woman calm. A guy walks up from outside, looked like someone you and I would not have over for dinner, had sweats on, and just looked really, really unkempt, and kind of comes jogging more or less, and grabs this woman and says, by the shoulders, and says, "Are you okay? I'm a doctor." And
I was going to say, you know what? I was going to second guess you and say, "Are you okay, honey?" You know.
And the end of this, they never got the guy. Blew me away. So I called 911 because there were about 4 parking valets standing out in the middle of the street gawking, and they were 17 to 20 years old, so they were just going, "Wow, that was just cool.
It was gnarly, man."
Oh yeah, that's exactly what they were doing, Joe. I called 911. The woman's quizzing me about daily events, topics, game show stuff, and finally the police show up 25 minutes later. And then get angry at me because I'm kind of standing by the side of her car picking up pieces of her running board. And they came up, no ambulance, no fire truck, no nothing. Kind of blew me away. And then before they left, they apologized for getting irate with me for trying to help this woman and standing out in what he termed the middle of the street. And he said, "Well, the problem here, Alan, is we don't usually have this happen in Walnut Creek.
Yep.
So we're not really geared up for this." And my question was, did you get the guy? And he pulled out his pad of paper, and this was a sergeant here with the Walnut Creek Police Department, and said, "Well, no, we didn't. But we're on it, and it's our top priority." Well, Joe, what blows me away about that story, I'm a news hound. I'm always culling news sites, local, national, whatever. There is not one word about that in any local or national or Bay Area news broadcast. Nothing.
Well, I had heard a while back, small towns like that, I think it was Danville or San Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
The news is padded.
Yes.
As to not cause panic.
Right.
And I'm wondering if Walnut Creek is one of those. Because, I mean, you remember when Tiffany's got bashed into.
Oh, drove the car right in through the front door.
Yeah, so people start to panic. And then I did hear of, there was a couple of purse snatchers a couple weeks ago.
Right.
But I was like, wow, Walnut Creek,
Well, and it blows me away because this is their main road, kind of the entrance into their main little moneymaker in the city.
Yep.
And I was just kind of blown away that nothing was reported. Again, news has a tendency, some news outlets can sensationalize things. And that's not what I expected. But shocking, I know. But it just kind of blew me away because this was in broad daylight. I mean, this was, and the issue that really kind of pissed me off, Joe, is I can't go down there and spend 10 minutes with my son going into a toy store without getting either a parking ticket or, getting pulled over for doing an illegal U-turn or something. They're really on that sort of thing.
Yep. Oh, no, dude. It's, I parked my motorcycle once between 2 cars and went and had lunch with my son. I came back out and both cars were gone. Obviously, nobody paid the meter.
Sure.
I got a ticket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
And Joe, let's talk about something you've got coming up here, I believe, at the end of the month. What's going on with you?
Yeah, we're doing a little project called Mofongolandia for all you Spanish-speaking folks. It's a Spanish cartoon. It's pretty much an educational, I don't want to name drop, but it's kind of like an educational South Park thing where it's, we get a little risque, but it's, it's got its good moments.
Is it more of an adult? It's an adult show.
It's like a tween show, I guess. That's the way to say it. Yeah. So kids could probably, I remember when I caught my daughter watching South Park, and I went, "What the hell?"
That's right. Now, is this going to be is this a live performance or what's the thing?
This is the premiere / fundraiser. It's going to be in San Francisco on the 26th
of July.
At Mercer, which is 255 Rhode Island, at 15th Street, San Francisco, California, as the immigration officer in Miami reminded me when he asked me where I was born, and I said San Francisco, and he said, which one?
That's right.
It's like, there's only one, pal. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a Latin animation.
Okay.
Because what we have found is, and I don't know if you ever saw this, but they try to do Family Guy. It's almost like trying to tell a great joke, in another language. It's lost in translation.
Right. No, absolutely.
And same thing when they tried to do Family Guy in Spanish. It was, I remember channel surfing and I saw this thing said, Padre de Familia. It was father of the family, was the translation. And they tried to, and I remember the episodes, because you'd watch them, and they tried to do the Quagmire, the horn dog. It just doesn't come out right. If anything, it comes out a little more perverse than funny.
Right.
To the point where it's sickening, and I don't think I want my kids watching this part
that's right.
because it's a little more direct than cliche.
Sure. Well, let me ask you. I'm curious when something is done in Spanish, if it's already existing, like the Family Guy thing, is it such a difference in translation that it would need to be totally rewritten, or how does that work?
There's no way to rewrite it because some of those skits. Or some of the, how do I put it? It's like going back to a joke, Knock knock. It's like knock knock. Who's there? Banana.
Right.
And then at the end you say orange. Well,
Right.
Naturally, the word orange when you say orange who and I say aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Right.
You cannot go naranja. At the end of that joke because there's no way naranja, which is orange. You can flow that word into aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Right, I see.
So it's the same thing. There's a play on words, there's a play on humor that is, I guess, language specific.
Okay, that totally makes sense.
Like a giggity. How do you giggity-do?
Right. Right. That's odd. Yeah. So is this an ongoing project, Joe, or is this going to be a one-night thing?
We're at the base floor here, so we're just starting this out.
Okay.
It's Mofongo Landia, MOFONGO and it's we've got a little skit in there, and you'll get an idea of what the cartoon's going to be like. But it's pretty much there's a lot of imagination involved. There's these kids. They get together and they play out their fantasies, and they go through the neighborhood, meet new people, investigate. So it's like I said, that's the educational part. Is they all with the media and technology, we've it's no longer just Christmas, but it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa,
right? Sure.
Whatever new December
Festus.
Holiday. Whoever even even the atheists have shopping day. I think it is now. Isn't that their religion or something like that? Non-Christmas day? Let's complain and sue the Christians day.
That's right. What role do you play in this, Joe? What are you doing?
I am the voice of Mavi.
Okay.
So, who's the raunchy little guy. So I'm obviously bleeped throughout the cartoon sometimes.
Okay.
But we are playing in Puerto Rico and Colombia, so they are allowing a lot of the verbiage to go through.
Oh, good. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
No, it should go through for a more. That's the way it was meant to be seen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so people can get tickets on the site, on the website, or at the door.
Website. Yeah. IndieGoGo also has a fundraiser, IndieGoGo.com.
Okay.
For Mofongolandia, and there's different depending on the levels. It's kind of like KQED, depending on the level of contribution. I mean, we'll have our cartoon artists draw a caricature of you, or
that's kind of cool.
I'll record your answering service, your office answering service.
Oh yeah, that could be scary.
Voice, including all of the F-bombs and everything.
That's right. That's classic. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for calling Dr. Anderson's office, fucko.
That could be that could be quite popular.
Yeah.
Especially for, well, everyone, used to be, again, going back to what we started out the show with, used to be not everyone had an answering machine, per se, but now everyone's got voicemail, so people can use. I get so sick and tired of hearing the generic. I know Joe and myself both have custom greetings on our voicemails, but everyone, a good majority, I'm going to say 95% of people leave the, you have reached, 510 or 925 so and so, this and that, and to me that is like no personality. Right. It's like you're given the opportunity to leave a custom greeting. Do it.
I think the caller, if they get one of those, they should be able to what? Oh, damn dog!
See, speaking of callers, we have one now.
That's it. He wants one. I think the caller should have the ability to change the greeting on the person he's calling.
That's right. That's right.
So if you do get one of those, you've reached 5415-555-1212.
Right.
At the tone, please leave your name and number, or to change this greeting.
That's right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And, well, Joe, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today.
Sounds good.
And we'll be back next week. Don't forget about Joe's gig coming up and the thing he's got going. You can check out the website. Yep. And what was the website again?
Mofongolandia.com. F-O-M-O-F-O. Mm-hmm. And it's not mofo.
Right.
Mofongo is a Puerto Rican dish, by the way, which I did for, a lot of people could translate that incorrectly, but it's Mofongolandia at Mofongolandia.com.
Okay.
Or in the fundraisers at Mercer, 255 Rhode Island.
Okay.
8 to 10 p.m., July 26th, 2014, year of our Lord.
Very cool. And if anyone has any questions or comments, you can email us, momentswithoutreason@gmail.com, and Joe will provide the link for the upcoming performance as well. Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Join us next week for another episode of Moments Without Reason.